Something is moving between the trees. At first, the darkness refuses to explain itself. Firelight touches a bare foot beside the embers. A hand hangs in the air, caught between one movement and the next. Bodies appear, disappear, then return as fragments of gold and red. And at the edge of the forest, almost erased by shadow, there is something with horns, something holding a flute. No one looks at us. The figures are not posing. They are not performing for an audience. Whatever is happening here began before we arrived, and it would continue if we turned away. That may be the first disturbing thing about this painting. It does not seem to need us. But every strange element belongs here. The nudity, the circular movement, the fire, the darkness, the music, even the hidden creature controlling the scene without touching anyone. Together, they form a coherent symbolic system. And once that system becomes visible, the painting stops looking like an eccentric fantasy. It starts looking like a psychological mirror. If you enjoy investigating artworks that conceal larger questions about human nature, subscribe. There are more images waiting in the dark, and some of them understand us better than we understand ourselves. The horned musician is Pan. In Greek tradition, Pan belongs to mountains, caves, forests, and fields beyond the safety of the city. He is part human, part animal, and impossible to fit inside the clean divisions civilization prefers. He represents nature before it is measured, disciplined, fenced, and made useful. Even the word panic carries his shadow. It describes a sudden fear that seems to rise without explanation, as though something ancient has recognized danger before the rational mind can name it. Yet Pan is not attacking anyone in this painting. He barely occupies the composition. He simply plays. The flute does not command the dancers through physical force. It creates a rhythm, and their bodies answer before reason has time to intervene. This is the first key to the image. Pan represents influence without visible control. Music works this way. Fear works this way. Desire, memory, crowds, and instinct work this way. The forces that move us most deeply rarely stand at the center and explain what they are doing. But if Pan controls the scene, why has the painter almost hidden him? Hold that question. The women around the fire are nymphs, figures associated with living landscapes, including trees, rivers, mountains, and springs. They do not merely visit nature. They belong to it. And their complete lack of interest in us changes the meaning of their bodies. For centuries, European academic painting used mythology to make sensual imagery socially respectable. Ancient stories placed a cultural frame around nudity. Desire could be presented as refinement, education, and good taste. The viewer was permitted to look because history had approved the subject. Consider William Adolphe Bouguereau's Nymphs and Satyr, painted in 1873. Its mythological bodies are polished, carefully composed, and clearly presented to the viewer. But these dancers do not present themselves. They do not pose, acknowledge us, or arrange their beauty for our approval. Their attention belongs entirely to the ritual. The painting contains nudity without making the body passive. It contains beauty without making beauty available for possession. The dancers belong to the circle, not to the spectator. So, how does the scene feel to you? Liberating, threatening, or somehow both? Leave your answer in the comments, because that tension is not a side effect of the painting. It is the subject. The image emerged from a culture rushing toward modernity. Industry expanded. Cities grew. Railways, factories, and electrical networks promised a world that was faster, brighter, and easier to control. Yet this same period experienced a renewed fascination with spiritualism, secret societies, ceremonial practices, pre-Christian religions, and forgotten gods. That contradiction was not accidental. It was a cultural recoil. The more mechanical life became, the more urgently some people searched for direct contact with mystery. Modernity promised to illuminate everything. But every new light created a new shadow. Pan returned because the modern world had created the emotional conditions that made him necessary. And this may explain why the painter chose darkness. In academic painting, light often clarifies. It reveals anatomy, texture, and idealized beauty. Here, light does the opposite. The central fire makes the scene less stable. One body becomes gold, another dissolves into red. A face appears for an instant, while an arm vanishes into blackness. The fire reveals, but it also erases. It decides what can be known and what must remain hidden. At first, it looked like atmosphere. Now it becomes an instrument of control. Everything we understand about the ritual is permitted by its unstable radius. Fire also transforms whatever enters it. It destroys, purifies, consumes, and changes. Around it, the dancers form a circle, a shape without a clear beginning or end. There is no obvious first dancer, no final dancer, no single figure that owns the movement. Ordinary hierarchy disappears. Individual identity begins to soften into collective rhythm. For a few moments, the organized self is suspended. If you value slow, research-driven art documentaries that allow an image to keep some of its mystery, tap like. It directly supports films that choose careful interpretation over disposable spectacle. Now return to Pan. The almost invisible figure in the corner may be the true organizing force of the entire painting. He does not seize the dancers. He does not dominate the center. He does not even confront the viewer. He creates the conditions under which everyone else moves. He is peripheral, yet essential. Nearly absent, yet completely in control. Like a rhythm your foot begins following before you notice. Like an emotion that alters your decisions, while reason invents an explanation afterward. Like a thought you are trying not to think. Only after understanding this hidden structure does the painter step forward. His name was Joseph Tomanek. Born in Central Europe, academically trained and later connected with Chicago, Tomanek inherited the technical traditions of European academic painting. He knew the visual language of polished anatomy, classical mythology, and controlled beauty. But he moved that language somewhere less respectable. Out of daylight, away from the museum garden, into a forest where beauty dissolves into smoke, shadow, and ritual. That transformation matters more than a simple list of influences. Tomanek did not reject academic beauty. He made it unstable. His obscurity now feels strangely appropriate. A largely forgotten painter created an image about forgotten instincts, and the painting itself has remained mostly beyond ordinary public reach, encountered through reproductions rather than direct experience. Yet obscurity does not make an artwork powerless. Sometimes it makes the image feel as though it has been waiting. At the beginning, we stood between the trees and watched a strange ritual from a safe distance. Now that distance is more difficult to maintain. Civilization depends on performance. We learn when to remain silent, how to dress, what to desire, which emotions to suppress, which movements would make us look ridiculous. We build illuminated cities and tell ourselves that darkness has been defeated. But the older self does not disappear. It survives inside music, inside crowds, inside fear, inside the sudden desire to move without justification. The painting may disturb us because it depicts something modern life has trained us to forget. Not that we are secretly wild instead of civilized, something more uncomfortable. We are both. Share this film with someone who may never look at mythological art in the same way again. The strangest paintings are often the ones that refuse to remain safely in the past. Now look at the complete image one final time. The foot is still dangerously close to the embers. The suspended hand is still following a rhythm we cannot hear. The dancers still ignore us. The fire still chooses what we are allowed to see. And Pan remains hidden, playing from the darkness. We understand the mythology, the historical tension, the artistic contrast, and the symbolism. Yet the painting feels less resolved than before. More intimate, more dangerous. Perhaps Pan's music was never intended to be heard literally. Perhaps it is simply the name we give to the moment when control weakens, explanation fails, and something older inside us begins to move. The most unsettling paintings do not show us an alien world. They reveal how much of our own world we have trained ourselves not to see. And the final question is no longer whether we understand the circle. It is whether we were ever truly standing outside it.